of my encouragements for you all to make terrible decisions as I am the GM.
Ash has a crossbow bolt in her side, 0 dots in skirmish, and 0 dots in wreck. And I'm so excited to see this get even worse. So that's one vote for escalation.
Skelly has 3 guns and all the ammo.
Crossroads has no guns, but Crossroads is a gun powered by ghosts.
Have we established that your guns are special to you? I feel like we're establishing that your guns are special to you.
Before this crew, they were my only friends.
You've known us for 5 days.
Are
You've
these
known
really your
those guns
friends?
a lot longer.
These are my babies.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Rowan was starting to do this, and then he realizes to harvest. This doesn't help. Like, don't do that.
This is not.
No.
This is
Like,
not
don't
what
do
you
this.
think.
Like,
Yeah.
Doing this to an executioner?
yeah, that's not
I'm
what you
just
want.
like this, like
We call that the go sign, you know? Like, yeah.
Oh man.
This seems great. I will do a fortune roll. Notes. No thoughts. Head empty. 1! I rolled a 1!
Yep. Hello, everybody. Um, I'm so conscious every time that I press things now, that every time I click things now, that things are working as intended. So I hope that went well. Hi, everybody. I'm still getting used to this new PC. Hello, everybody. It's Brandon O'Brien again. About to bring you yet another session of the Case of the Cindered Seal, our Blades in the Dark special mini-series in collaboration with Speculate and with this channel, twitch.tv/arvaneleron. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening. It is Porter's Day, so we're going to get in some light shenanigans, not life-threatening shenanigans this evening. So I'm hoping that we can take this opportunity to relax and regroup and deal with all of the weirdness that has already previously taken place, as opposed to pile on new weirdness. So thank you for joining us. As usual, I am but a guest on this channel on Sunday, so all of the support that you give to this channel not only helps support this work, but all of the work that Gregory Wilson does on this channel as well. So if you support us by contributing to the Patreon, which you can find at !Arvtreon, or if you share and review our previous work on the Arvaneleron YouTube channel, which you can find at !Arvtube. Those things are genuinely very powerful ways of supporting us. Of course, Greg's website, arvaneleron.com, where you can find even more information about this channel and the work that it does, especially in the lead up to ArvCon, which is coming up later this month, which I'm really excited about because it will include the second of 2 sessions of Sound Clashy Clampdown that we will have this month, and I'm really excited for that, as well as some other secret things that I'm planning as well. Of course, you can also find the Arvaneleron Discord channel, where you can chat with us and all of the other cool people who do cool things and enjoy the cool things that are done on this channel. Of course, I definitely also need to shout out !Icarus. I am really excited. I'm still really glad to know that Greg's Icarus collection was awarded. That the ceremony was just this week, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry that I actually missed the award ceremony itself. I definitely wanted to check it out. I didn't want to miss it. But now it's a silver medalist, and that's really cool because you get stickers to put on your book so people know that it's actually very good and worth reading. So I'm really glad that that happened, and I'm very like it. I spent most of the evening that I found out genuinely celebrating because I think that that's really dope, and I'm really glad. I'm really happy that happened for you, Greg. So without further ado, because my brain is actually kind of cooking right now, because I had to like fix a lot of things. I realized earlier that I was missing some of these sources for this stream, and I had to like remake the entire scene collection on OBS, but everything is working now, I hope. And we should be getting started right now as I join my friends who are having um, some manner of a very
Addition?
interesting conversation. I'm very sure, and I'm sorry that I cut them off because, of course, they're having some conversation that is much smarter than I am.
No, we're talking about how your mic looks like a knife.
Yes.
Um,
It looks
duly
like a knife.
noted. I have no idea how that works. I guess I wonder if it still looks like a knife when we move to this screen over here, where you can meet all of these lovely people who are about to engage in some shenanigans this evening.
Still a
Um,
knife.
I have no idea. I have to take your word for it. Like, what part of it is a knife? I'm.
So your microphone is partially cut off because of how
Mhm.
your video is framed.
Mm-hmm.
And so when, if you take half of this, the other half looks like a knife, right?
Eh, I guess. Okay.
Chat agrees with us.
Chat
Thank you, chat.
agrees.
Thanks for having
Thank
our
you,
back.
chat. Thank you.
The simple majority of chat is all that it requires for me to just accept that that is true. So with that, with my knife in mind, I guess I will ask you all to now introduce yourself by telling everybody who you are, what cool things you do, and who you will be playing this evening. Starting with Valerie.
Oh, you're
I know,
muted.
unmute. I'm sudden like, okay. Hi, I'm Valerie Valdes. I am a writer and a gamer, and you can find me at valerievaldes.com. I'm currently working on the third book of my trilogy that begins with Chilling Effect. Second book is Prime Deceptions. Third book is currently Fault Tolerance. It's due tomorrow. I'm freaking out. My books pair well with Mike's books because they're awesome. And you can also catch me on Twitch streaming now 3 times a week because Mass Effect is out. And I am all up in that. So please enjoy.
Of course. Next, Iori Kusano.
Iori Kusano, they, she pronouns, Clarion West class of 2017, fiction in Apex, reviews in Strange Horizons, podcasting with Brandon on the Skiffy and Infanti Network. I play Ash, who is our Lurk.
Next, Jeoi.
Hello, I am Jeoi Lin, he, they pronouns. I am a game and fiction writer. And I play Crossroads, who is our ex-Whisper, currently whole, definitely not made of meat. That's actually true. Now Maypole character.
And last but not least, Mike.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael R. Underwood. He, him pronouns for me. I'm an author, podcaster, and publishing person at large, along with Greg and our host, Arv, aka... no, that's all mixed up. Along with Brandon and Greg, aka Arvin Elleron, I co-host Speculate. And my latest book is Genrenauts: The Wasteland War, which takes the genre and dimension hopping series back to the wasteland, a la Apocalypse World or Mad Max Fury Road. And before that was Annihilation Aria, which is a found family space opera that if you liked, you should buy Valerie's books because they go very well together as a 1-2 punch of found family space adventure. If you like what we do here, we would love for you to become a supporter over at Patreon at patreon.com/speculate. My character is Ring Dalmore, a haunted veteran and the crew's spider. Ring's pronouns are they, them. That's me.
Okay. So, when last we vented into Duskfall with these strange friends, you were still in the process of fleeing an ambush. Were lucky enough to score some rickshaws piloted by porters who took you to Dern's hideout for you to heal your terrible wounds and probably just actually get a chance to relax on this Porter's Day and actually just enjoy a Porter's Day feast without having to deal with any more drama. But that also included some drama, including but not limited to Ring not really indulging in their vice, and Skelly having what seemed to be a very troublesome moment regarding a meal and some of the children nearby, which, what's up with that? I don't know. But before we get into that, uh, Ash is still asleep, having lost a lot of blood, having exerted a lot of energy earlier in that ambush in order to like single-handedly uh, wound the three bluecoats, um, is having a bit of a fitful rest, in part because of the pain, in part because of the strange vision that occurred at that point when they had gotten the adrenaline necessary to wound all of those bluecoats in the first place. And as a result, they find themselves in their mind still in that pure white landscape of that first vision. For a few seconds, it seems like no one is around. Ash, you are totally by yourself in this place. You look around, it's just you and just like what seems like polished silver-ish glass for a floor as far as the horizon line in any direction. And then you hear footsteps behind you. And when you turn around, you meet someone that you've seen before in this space. Crossroads, would you like to describe what you look like in this space?
Well, Crossroads in this space looks like it's made of meat. The meat is in the shape of a person whose hair is feathers, black like a Death Seeker crow's feathers, and their hands and forearms are scaly, like the feet of a Death Seeker crow. And those are meat as well.
Okay. In this space, you in this moment, Crossroads, this is not like this dream you is not the you that is in the world. You know, you don't know all of the things that you know about yourself, but you know a bit more. You don't feel all of the ways that you feel about yourself, but you feel a bit more for the purposes of the scene. Um, so you are aware of who this person is that you have approached, even though you are also aware in this moment that you have never met like this. And it strikes you that there are some questions that Ash might want to ask about you, and that you might want to ask about Ash, but also about this place. You know a few things as well. You know where you are. You know why you are here. You are here in this space because it represents what is essentially the liminal space between the real world and the world beyond. The world where demons reside, the world where the forgotten gods reside or have resided. This is a kind of limbo, a kind of waiting room for creatures that are passing from one space to the other. And you are here because you are a fragment of your soul that was lost as a result of what you only recall as a blow to the head. But you know how this space operates. It responds very strongly to what you kind of understand as a kind of surreal law of its own universe, where whenever someone needs to know something or needs to understand something, it will give it to them, but it doesn't know how. that's how you eat and stuff like that. It will sense that you are hungry, and even though you don't need to eat because you're a soul, it will provide food for you because it knows that you want to, and stuff like that. But it's also how you have grown to understand more about the rest of your soul as you kind of look on past the horizon into what is the rest of the world. So if somebody wanted to ask you questions about this place, there are things that you can say that you know, but you are also kind of you also kind of experience the rest of your soul's experiences at a remove. So if there are things that you'd like to know or clarify about those experiences as well, that is a thing that you can also do. Ash, being in this space means being in this space is utterly confusing to you. It feels in this moment like there is no, like you feel as if you cannot leave right now until something happens. You feel as if because something happened the last time, you need to experience something, that there is something that you need to gain or know in order for this to end.
Ash feels like her brain is going pretty sluggishly. Like, whatever fantasy morphine Melvir gave her definitely has her a little extra out of it. So she keeps turning to survey this vast, empty landscape and then turning to look back at this person. And she doesn't really understand why she feels safe with them. But she looks up and goes, "Oh, so you were always tall."
The person who was Crossroads, or is Crossroads currently, in a very strange way, looks down at the meat body and looks back up and says, I suppose, but I feel more like I was always here instead.
Do you want to not be here? Do you need to come out of here?
I don't think so. I think I am here the same way I am also not here, in that I don't know what's going on, really. But, and then suddenly in their Burby hands is a little dish of, and saucer of Severosi tea. And it's the exact duplicate of the tea that was offered at Hunger's place. So very clearly pulled from a memory. And mid-sentence, meet Crossroads, holds it out and says, but here and there, I just want to help. So it's not so bad.
Ash is slowly, like very, very slowly, piecing together that this dream does not feel as dreamlike as most dreams do. But she recognizes this cadence of speaking because Crossroads speaks just the same way, whether it's meat or not. And she looks up and she puts a hand on Meat Rhodes' arm and says, "Is there anything you want me to tell the other you? The rest of you?"
maybe not to be scared so much, because you have good friends now. And you, Ash, you are good here too, and also good there.
Thank you. And then Ash is having trouble holding on to language. She doesn't know how much in this liminal space gets through, but in her current state, it's so much effort to try to keep translating into Akarosi. So when she says, "You've always been good," she says it in Severosi. Can Crossroads understand that in this space?
I asked the DM, does Crossroads understand that in this space?
It's
Do
very
subtitles perhaps appear?
ghost subtitles, just like a whiff of smoke starts gathering. You have this very weird experience where you know that the sounds that you are hearing coming out of Ash's mouth are not sounds that you recognize, but you know exactly what is being said.
As Ash is beginning to fade from the space, the offered tea becomes a hat from Ash's shop, and then Meat Rhodes puts it on Ash's head, and then very pleasedly, with like the kind of quick light in their eyes of like, oh, I just thought of something great. They happily give Ash's head a pat, like Ash gave Crossroads' metalhead pats when it was panicking, and will probably continue panicking at some point in the near future.
And that motion really cements for Ash. Yeah, this is definitely Crossroads.
Okay. And as that happens, you like feel the space kind of fade away as you kind of return, not fully to consciousness. You're still kind of groggy, but you are kind of awake and you are aware of the fact that you are re-entering the real world. Answer a question for me. You How many ticks do you have on your healing clock at the moment, Ash?
Ooh, let's see. Looks like 1.
Right. You gain one more tick.
Okay.
The hat
And
has healed.
Ash
you.
is currently Ash is currently still at 1 harm from crossbow side effects.
Mm-hmm. So are you awake at this moment, or are you like actually going to like wake up, or are you just gonna like lie down and because you are in a lot of pain, you have lost a lot of blood, you are still kind of exhausted, but are you going to exert any kind of energy to like gather your surroundings?
Ash is going to keep lying down, but she is awake enough to be like looking around the room, starting to listen to the different snatches of conversation going on in her general vicinity. Starting to be vaguely conscious that she's hungry, but feeling way too lethargic to get up and do anything about it.
When Ash opens her eyes, the first thing she sees is a very tall, bird-headed pole that's been sort of barbershop whirligigged into a maypole by a small gaggle of children. And Crossroads just looks down at her and it goes, "Hello. We feel closer now."
Crossbow bolts are an interesting kind of bonding experience. Let's find a bonding experience that has less blood next time.
Yes, because I don't have blood.
Somewhere off to the side of this conversation, Melvir is sitting on like an overturned crate and just watching you both with his eyes very, very wide.
The general loss of body fluids in our friendship, I think, is a little unbalanced.
Yeah. Some other friends are bonded by blood. Some are bonded by no blood whatsoever. By a complete lack of, by losing as much blood as possible to be at a low blood equilibrium. Perfectly fair. Um. While this is happening, um, one of the porters comes up to you, Ash, while you are still like lying in bed, with a very large glass of water. Like it's very narrow, but it's as tall as your head or more. Um, and like they hold it out in front of you and go, are you okay? I think they say you're supposed to have fluids when you. It just kind of points at their own abdomen to like signal
When you get
you
shot.
get shot. I just like waving this glass in front of you. Are you thirsty?
Ash takes the glass and thanks the porter and starts. The sipping turns into chugging at an alarming rate.
Give me a 1d14 roll, Ash.
If Ash drowns,
Oh
Crossroads is going to be
God!
very upset.
It was like a pint glass, right? The porter did not just hand me a yard of water.
Here, drink a pint of water immediately.
No, this is to see if the water comes out of the hole in the side of you, like in a cartoon.
Oh God, no.
That's a 4.
Okay, cool. When you take the glass from this porter, your hand begins trembling, but it steadies soon enough, and you drink the water as if your hand is not an issue. While this is happening, I'd like to divert very swiftly over to Skelly. Skelly, have you eaten?
Nope.
Skelly, has anyone given you anything to eat?
Several people have offered, and Skelly has politely declined each time or slipped the food to her cat.
Okay.
Truffle is very fed.
Would you like to give me a survey roll? In fact, you can give me a survey roll or a study roll at your leisure. It's a matter of whether right now you would like to get a general lay of the land, or if a particular thing has gotten your attention.
I feel like survey is her more consistent mode, and so whether or not that succeeds, regardless of what's going on, I don't think that she is staring at anyone thing in particular. I think she is just kind of looking around the room.
Okay.
All right, position.
Your position is controlled.
Mhm.
Your
Effect.
effect. Your effect is extreme.
Oh, all right then. I got a 2 and a 3.
The place is kind of crowded. You aren't really making out a lot. Like, you are making out a great deal more than a lot of, like, other people would have. You are, like, you can make out individual faces. You can tell who is a porter and who is not. You have been, like, keeping your eye on a handful of kids because they seem to be causing a lot of trouble, but nothing particularly, like, upsetting at this moment. But nothing really stands out to you in this moment. As that happens, two other porters, like, just like a little ways off from your table, close enough for you to hear them, but you weren't like really noticing them until you like started hearing one giggling to the other. Like out of the corner of your eye, you can see like two teenage girls, maybe around 15, 16, 17. They're very obviously looking at you without trying to make it obvious that they're looking at you. But you can tell because it's you. And one kind of like snickers to the other. Isn't that a weird one? Won't eat at all. I don't get it. And they just like go back to giggling, and then one of them just gets a kind of inclination that you are very obviously looking at them, and they freeze and just kind of skitter off elsewhere into the building.
Skelly considers leaving, but due to snow and recent murder activities, opts to stay despite her discomfort.
Mm-hmm. Give me another survey roll. Your position and effect are the same.
That's a 2 and a 4.
Okay. Still not a lot that you can see, but you do see, like, you see a crowd of kids gather at one of the other exits. Like a small semicircle, 8, 9, 10, 11 children, like kind of huddled around something that is happening at that door.
Out of concern, Skelly does get up to try to get a better view.
Okay. When you stand up, it gives you enough of a view over those children's heads to see that the thing that they are watching is a fight between two more children.
Ah, sharpshooter. All right, so yeah, Skelly will step forward and keep an eye on the fight to see how severe it's getting, because Skelly knows that sometimes interfering in a fight like this is more problematic than not. Like, this may be a study role, which she doesn't have any study, but nonetheless, this is a situation where it's kind of like she is trying to get a feel for the dynamics of the situation, which, the kids who are involved, is one of them clearly much bigger and beating the crap out of the other? Are the kids on the outside sort of cheering one or the other on? Are they aghast? Are they supportive? What is the kind of dynamic of the situation?
What you can tell right now, before you try to get a better look at all, is these kids just enjoy it. It's a fight. They're kids. They like watching fights. We used to be bad like that when we were young all the time. But you can't really get you get the vague impression that very obviously it looks to you like one of them has the upper hand over the other, but you can't tell for sure unless you either get higher or get closer.
Yeah, she's gonna get closer, because higher would involve probably like a chair or something that she'd have to take for. There's not like a lot of chairs lying around at this point, so.
So as you step closer, give me a study roll. In fact, there is a case to be made, I believe. Hold on. There is a case to be made, I believe, for Prowl, if you don't want anybody to notice that you get immediately close to the circle. But
yeah,
other than
yeah, Prowl actually, because it is to get closer without being noticed. Because again, she doesn't want to disrupt the fight if it is just kids being kids.
Not Prowl, Hunt. which is
Yeah,
even
I feel
better, I imagine.
I feel like Prowl I think would actually make more sense in this case because she's not really hunting
Well,
anyone.
yes.
Like
Hmm.
I think Prowl does yeah, that makes sense to me. So I will do
Okay.
a Prowl. Yeah.
Your
The goal being to get closer without being noticed.
mhm. Your position is controlled and your effect is standard.
As a 3. Oops, she's too tall. It's like you're trying to creep up on some kids and she's like 6 feet tall. Oops.
You get closer and oops, there's blood.
Oh no.
Both of these children's faces and knuckles are like have like not a lot of blood, but the kind of blood that if you saw two children enter a room with that kind of blood on their hands, it would be obviously problematic.
Mm.
But you can't tell whose it is or if it's both of them. It does look in the moment that you see them though, that you see it though, that they're like very adept fighters. They're not like fighting like children. This is not like a backyard scrap. They're fighting like this is for their lives, and they're doing very well at it both.
Yeah. No. Not gonna happen. All right, so now Skelly then comes to the edge of the circle and gives a sharp whistle and then steps in.
The circle surrounding these children all freeze. Like everyone is looking up at you. Some people like gasp in shock. But these kids don't stop fighting.
All right.
You kind of like, in fact, you kind of like idly notice one of them looks at you with a bit of concern and then very rapidly returns their attention to the kid in front of them because they just like narrowly just dodged a punch to the nose.
I'm gonna give a command, which is knock it off. It's Borders Day.
I'm gonna tell you that just works. You don't have to like roll or
Cool.
anything for that. Like the two kids freeze, but like one of them is not paying any attention to you. You can tell that that's, even though they're like, one of them doesn't obviously look very much bigger than the other. You can tell that like one of them is, I guess, fiercer than the other. You could just like get that kind of vibe. But they do both stop. And that, and the child that looked up at you earlier, like puts their hands very meekly up and says, "I'm really sorry. It wasn't my fault. They started it." And while that's happening, the other kid just like starts walking away.
Doesn't matter who started it. I ended it. No harm, no foul. Get some damn food.
You say that? Give me a give me a study roll. Yeah, I'm really sorry. It has to be a study roll. Your position is controlled and your effect is great.
There's a 4 and a 1. I have no idea what happened. I'm so oblivious to this whole situation.
The kid gives you a look, but you can't make out what the look means, and just kind of meekly sulks away. Because he walks past you though, you can tell he is bleeding, but most of the blood on him is not his. And the children disperse. Everybody goes back about their business. As that happens, Melvire puts a hand on your shoulder.
Hey, I turn around, I'm like, hey, did you see the messed up kid?
Which messed up kid? And he gestures to the entire room.
Yeah, you're right.
You okay?
Yep.
Melville literally looks away as if looking at a camera from an episode of The Office and puts his hands together and says, whenever someone hesitates for that long a beat, it's usually because they're not okay. Or do you want to talk about it? In fact, no. Let me ask a different question. Are you aware that perhaps you should talk about it even if you don't want to?
I just don't do holidays.
I mean, kind of hard to do holidays when you're a hired gun, I imagine.
Yeah.
But like, this is, you had a look on your face just now. Seemed like a bigger deal than that. I mean, I know how you acted when I cook for you. I don't know if, because I saw that you didn't eat anything here. Is it that you, like, how picky are you really? You seem to not be enjoying this entire thing at all.
It Porter's Day was always big at the orphanage.
Right, you grew up with a lot of kids, just like these guys did. I keep forgetting that you. Sorry, continue.
It wasn't good for me like it was for them, you know.
I hear you. I guess holidays like this one can be hard when your only family are other kids, I guess.
Yeah, they weren't my family really, but they were each other's family, so that was what counted.
What was it like, if you don't mind me asking?
It sucked. You know how kids are scared of the dark? They're scared of ghosts and monsters, vampires coming for them.
Mm-hmm.
That was me. I was the monster.
What do you mean?
Don't worry about it. Skilly slaps him on the arm, says, I bet Ring has some good stuff to drink. He's always, I'm sorry, they've always got the good stuff hiding somewhere. So you should ask him. They can hook you up.
I'm absolutely confident that Ring probably has like pure ethanol in a plastic bag somewhere on their person.
Nah, but it tastes good though.
I want to ask you how you know, but I'm not going to, because I trust you and I like you. Just, y'all have been through a lot. Your friend took a bullet to the gut. I don't know what you've been through. Tonight, you've both been in the cold for Lord knows how many hours of this evening. At least have something. Ask for a cup of tea or something. Don't die. I'm gonna keep telling you all this because it seems like you all like it. Like being on the precipice of death. I don't. It's not my job. I'm a physica. My job is to keep you away from that as much as possible, so please. Yeah? And as that happen, as Melvir says that, um, Dern flags Melvir and Ring to get their attention uh from one of the other corners of the room. And Ring, as you turn to see like why Dern is calling you, you can see him holding holding the head of one of the two children up so their nose doesn't keep bleeding.
Axe, what did you do? What did you do, Axe?
I didn't do nothing. I sat down. I made myself a plate of food, and then um Colin decided he wanted to start some shit. So I tried my best to end some shit.
So what you didn't do was dodge right. Here, come over here.
Dern is grinning as this happens. And Dern pulls out a handkerchief, like literally crumples it up into a very messy ball, and just kind of like tucks it into the kid's nose, and then taps him on the shoulder and says, "Go. Let them teach you something." And he steps forward toward you.
All right. This is good anyway, because one of the ways that you can change up a fight is instead of squaring up, you go on a long angle. And you're a lefty, right? That's good. So what you do is you and like Ring kind of takes their stance and moves him so that his right arm is forward. You've seen the fancy lads fencing, right?
Yeah.
One of the imperial styles is you hold yourself way back, because if there's a tip of a sword pointing at your face, you're not going to go right in at somebody, right? You square off. You can come in anywhere because there's a fist no farther or closer to you. But if somebody's coming in at you, and it's just one, especially, you get that first fist out there, not so extended that you can't put some pop into it. And like Ring kind of goes into some like martial coaching and gets far enough into it that Axe seems to have like relaxed a bit. And then the martial coaching kind of circles around to like, do you know like what made the other kid angry? And do you think that's really it? Do you think it was something else?
Well, Collins, and he leans in a little bit, and like first he casts an eye to decide to Dern, and then like you can see that he looks past Dern, and like leaning on one of the walls in one of the adjoining rooms that you can still see straight through from that adjoining corridor. Colin is literally leaning and watching this entire fight. And he leans into you and says, Colinzel is just kind of a dick, you know? He thinks that he runs the place. He thinks that because he's older and bigger, whenever he wants your food or wants your coin or wants your job, he gets to take it. And I said I couldn't take it anymore, and then he just boxed me, you know?
How many other kids your age like Colin?
Nobody really hangs with him except some of the older boys.
Okay. So that's you and Vasa and Mox and Tao. So that means you've got 8-10 hands between you?
guess, but what if I don't want to fight? And I don't want. I mean, I'm telling you all of this now, but I don't want to seem like I'm tattling, or else he'll know that I said something, and then it'll just be another fight. You know?
Yeah, but you, me, Colin, Dern, all of those, we're all here. We're all in the same crew. Colin wants to get his blood up. There's plenty people out in that city that would be happy to see us bled out in an alley, tossed to the Leviathans, or shipped off to kill people none of us have ever met. But what you can do is you can understand what's happening. If you understand Colin, if you understand what connects you to Colin, what connects you to the others your age, you can go to them, and it can be you that talks to everybody else your age who isn't as big like Colin and say, hey, we all know who Colin is. We all know how Colin does this thing. You make it clear to Colin the next time he starts something, that he starts something with you, he's starting something with 5 people. He's not bigger than five of you, even if he's a couple years older. That's why we have crews. So we can stand up when someone's being an ass.
Okay.
And so that you have someone to hand you tissues.
As you say that, they're literally about to just run their finger under their bloody nose. And they take that tissue from you, pull out Dern's handkerchief.
I'll take that. It's
covered in blood, just like all the way. And they just turn this tissue into a ball and shove that up their noses. Then and he goes, "Thanks, boss."
Go to the kitchen and have some of the spiced wine.
Okay.
It'll help you. You gotta make a bunch of new blood.
Speaking of new blood, does your friend need? Should I get a mug for the wounded one as well? I don't know. Y'all seem to have had quite a scrap this Porter's Day. What was up, Ethan?
Sometimes a crew starts some shit and you don't even know who they are. And that makes things very hard, because what you know about Colin lets you be okay at the end of the fight. When somebody shows up and you don't know who they are, then you got to worry. But luckily for us, the rest of the porters were around and they got us out, which is why we have crews.
Mm-hmm.
I got mugs, but thank you. Just keep one arm out in front next time.
Mm-hmm. And if you
and don't be alone.
And if you ever need anybody to find out more about who jumped you, and he taps his nose, and when that happens, just like long drip of blood falls out of his nostril. Just let me know and I'll ask some questions. And he just skips over to the kitchen.
Iori, can I share your thing with chat?
I am so very sorry.
Or do you want to share what you just wrote?
Oh Lord. An entire conversation is happening elsewhere that I haven't been noticing because my keyboard is acting weird this evening.
So Iori said, now Crossroads is going to get ash drunk because it thinks that's how you make blood, aka have some spiced wine.
I mean,
Crossroads has been paying attention to Ring's entire martial coaching spiel because it's very invested in making sure Ash doesn't get shot. So it's thinking, okay, Ash needs to walk out with arms out all the time now, and Ash needs a bigger crossbow. Yeah. And Ash needs more wine. A bigger crossbow than the crossbow that the nasty people had.
Jeoi, did Crossroads get to charge when we did the last session?
Right, yes, that still needs to
Uh,
happen. I don't think...
No.
I think
Crossroads
you
is still
are.
a maypole.
Yeah, I think you were, like, in the process of being about to relax and charge, but it hasn't happened it hasn't actually happened yet.
A question about the maypoling. Are Crossroads' arms just pinned to its sides?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So, Ring, you just look up from your incredible parenting powers, and you just see Crossroads' body facing one way, very mapled neatly, and the head is just swiveled 90 degrees and just looking at you.
Are you all right, friend?
I'm paying attention.
All right. Do you need to charge?
I'm
had a-
standing still.
We had a long day.
Oh, the other charge. Yes. I need a generator.
All right, Dern's got one. Come on with me. Sorry, kids.
Crossroads penguin waddles over in the maple.
Wait, do you pass Skelly?
Yes.
Skelly just whips out a knife and
Oh.
Do you want to keep some of it?
I thought I looked quite festive.
Oops, sorry.
It's true.
My bad.
It's okay. You like knives. And Ring said it's Porter's Day. And Porter's Day is about what you like. So I'm still festive.
This part might catch on fire when you're hooked up, though, so it's probably best that we pull that off. And Ring is just like looping stuff on their arm and hands it off to someone.
Skelly's
Crossroads
like, I do
stands
like
still.
knives.
Skelly, do you need a drink?
Good, but let me get a ribbon for Truffle.
Yeah.
Ash needs wine to make blood.
What is that? What?
That's what Ring said.
Ring leans over and like, we can probably do better than the wine. The wine was to make the kid not feel so bad.
Ash needs blood to make blood.
Yeah. Let's one thing at a time. Melvir's here. He'll make sure she's all right, but we'll come back around.
Okay. Melvir, get blood.
Melvir is looking at you both again with the same wide-eyed expression that was discussed earlier. And then, like, it sinks in at some point, the question that was ultimately just asked, and then he goes, wait, from where?
Crossroads thinks about it, and then very proudly says, you're a physiker. You're smart.
Well,
I
there's
don't make blood. Half of the people in this building are children. I can't get their consent to give blood. This is a lot. Oh my god. Really all that is necessary at this point is rest, fluids, and good meat. And this is
Crossroads
mostly for
suddenly
all of
looks
you,
at
Yvonne.
everybody in the room.
Melvir grabs you by the beak and turns your head away from them. Give me a 2-die fortune roll.
A 2-die fortune roll. Huzzah! 2 dice. Notes. Everybody is made of good meat.
Oh god.
Submit. That is a 4 and a 6 for everybody is made of good meat.
Everybody else notices, well, the three of you that are not Crossroads notice, and like Dern and a handful of the adults in the room noticed Melvir grab Crossroads' beak, and then You don't smell anything, and you don't see anything.
Uh-oh.
But like you you hear Melvir kind of mumble to himself a little bit, and it seems like he's trembling, and all of you are immediately acutely aware that he's being electrocuted at this moment. Not a lot, but just like a stun gun's worth, but very obviously being shocked at this moment. And Melvin just lets go of your beak and says, I really hate it when you do that. Everybody relax. Relax. Is the solution to all of our problems this evening. Everybody relax. It's Porter's Day. It's called the Porter's Day feast for a reason. Eat, drink, regale each other with stories about the past, and not have to think about anything other than the fact that you are not in the cold right now, and you will be fine. Please. And
Generators this way.
What's that?
Ring says to Crossroad, generators this way, and kind of inclines their head.
Yeah, I guess. Hulls need to eat their own kind of food too, and that goes for the rest of y'all as well. And like you can, Skelly, you can see that Melvir looked at you, but is not being as insistent as usual. And very idly walks past you towards the large dining table where they have some pitchers of juice of various fruits and some wines, and just puts his hand against one of the pitchers and just leaves it there.
Crossroads goes with Ring and says very, very quietly, I think I cooked him.
Just a little. If we can get more than, let's say, 12 hours to ourselves without having random assailants coming after us, we'll get some more practice so that you can zap people only when you want to.
If I get better at cooking people, does that mean Ash will have more blood?
No, but it will make it less likely that people who we don't want to get zapped will get zapped. And then we won't have to worry as much.
Okay. I will charge and think about blood.
Are you able to, do you have to kind of sleep when you're charging?
Well, last time, Ash stuck something in my body, and I was awake. And then Ash got cooked a little.
Okay. I've got some rubber gloves. Maybe we can do a little better. The generator's in there. I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to see if I can get the others so we can have a couple minutes to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ring.
While this is happening, okay, how am I gonna do this? Ash, are you upright?
Ash is not upright.
Okay, so you definitely
I mean,
wouldn't have
upright
seen
in the
this.
definition of prop them up on some pillows so that she can drink water without spilling it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely not in a I am going to stand up state of health.
Mm-hmm. In fact, wait, no, this has to be you. So I guess they moved then. Okay, cool. So you are lying in this cot stacked with pillows and blankets, chugging away at this tall glass of water. When an old lady walks up to you. This is an old lady that you know very well. Her name is Cheryl Rivas, and you met her at the funeral. and she looks at you with incredible concern in her eyes and says, "Oh my, it looks like you and your friends have been through quite an ordeal. I hope, um, at the very least, I hope that whoever dealt this to you got it worse."
So I feel like know her very well is a stretch because we received her business card and then we never called the poor woman. So
Mm-hmm.
Ash recognizes her, but does not know her. So she says very cheerfully, "It's been a day, but they're dead."
Cheryl chuckles to herself and um, like it trails off a little bit, and she looks back at you again with concern and goes, "I hope this doesn't have anything to do with any of the terrible things that we've been hearing on the street about our dear Runa. Apparently, some unsavory folks have been asking all sorts of questions about her, um, about that friend that she keeps company with when they tend to those crows. I, it's nasty business, but I imagined that when I saw you all wander in here with you wounded and asleep, that I was worried that it some of that bad business had visited you at some point, and I hope that that's not the case. Um, in any case, I guess I just wanted to make sure that you were all right and let you know again that if you ever need anything that anything that I can help you with, I can definitely go out of my way and make sure that you can have it."
And Ash says, "Runa always came to my shop alone. I don't know anything about her friend. Do you know who they are?"
I I never spoke I never spoke to this person myself, but there was always a machine that Runa tended to work with whenever I saw them um, tending to the Death Seeker crows, responding to the ghosts. Um, I mean, I never knew them, and I never saw them together in any capacity other than that dreadful crow work. But that was what some inspector came to trouble us about. Um, you mightn't recognize that woman. She was at the funeral as well. In any case, I don't know.
Seems odd that the Bluecoats would trouble you about someone feeding birds. I didn't think feeding birds was illegal here. Akarosi laws are so strange.
The Bluecoats are a special kind of evil. They'd send you to jail for a sandwich if it were the wrong kind of bread. I just. They say that they're doing work for the people, but they never care about the people, so the people have to care about their own, you know? So I ask because you're one of ours. One of Runa's, I'm guessing, at least. And if you're one of Runa's, then you're someone worth taking care of. And she reaches into like a very like thick cloth satchel on her right hand side and pulls out a small like it looks like a velvet pouch, but it's really just a velvet cloth tied with a ribbon, and puts it in your hand, and you can feel like it's a sack of gold. She has just given you the equivalent of 3 coin.
Well, thank you very much.
Um,
I will spend this on more medical treatment.
that sounds like a worthwhile place to spend that. And um, I mean, again, if you ever need any help with your work or anything else in this dreadful time, especially in the winter when it becomes so much harder to move, so long as you can meet me in Brightstone, you can ask me for anything you wish. And she just kind of nods and hobbles away.
And Ash is processing this because she had expected that Cheryl had seen the previous crossroads, not the current crossroads. But this is actually pretty valuable to her because this means there are multiple witnesses, probably, who have seen our big friend in the company of Runa.
Mm-hmm. While that's happening, I guess this is when Ring reappears to ask everybody if they'd want to gather for a discussion.
Yeah, so I did some quick Googling for 1890s generators to try to see if it's remotely feasible for a generator to be mobile so that the generator can come to Ash instead of Ash having to go to the generator. The results were inconclusive. What do y'all think?
Well, I'm a big friend, so I can carry it.
It's very true.
I think we're steampunk enough that it flies. Or rolls.
I'm gonna let. In fact,
and crank that, like, yeah.
in fact, I'm going to place this in Fortune's hands. Ring, give me a 1-die Fortune roll.
Oh no.
All right, let's see if
the quality of this generator will always be enough that it will heal drain regardless. It's just what other
five of 6 generator.
Right, it's on wheels. It is very heavy, but not something that you can't just like very easily slide out of the room that it's in. But it is upstairs, so that's the only hard part. So I guess Crossroads can very easily bring it down. But it can very easily move. It is just like the generator itself is connected by a very large, thick wire directly to the power supply outside. So you have to be kind of careful that you don't jostle that loose, but it can still definitely move, and it will definitely reach next to Ash if you wanted to bring it right by Ash's bed.
It's definitely funnier to bring the generator to Ash, but it might be more sensible to see if we can safely transport Ash up to the generator or up to the second floor.
I'm a big friend. I can carry Ash.
Yeah, or like a freight elevator.
There are no elevators in this room, in this building, unfortunately, only stairs. Excuse me, I'm dying.
And so I think Ring looks at the generator, goes to the top of the stairs or wherever it is to be able to look into the room, and then goes back to the generator and says, no, I'm sorry, we will probably have to do this a different way around. If Ash is all right, we can get all of us up in there, and then we'll have the space to be able to talk without the little ones rolling and screaming and climbing everywhere. I've gotten used to it, but not everybody is.
Okay. I will go carry Ash then.
I'll get some rubber gloves. That'll make the generator part easier.
I feel like Skelly could probably also carry Ash if necessary, so just putting that out there. And
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to ask her, not
Ash
necessary,
is
but
5'0". Most
Yeah.
of the party could carry her.
exactly, yeah. Like,
So yeah, if we can like reassemble up in the up in some side room, it's probably where would the generator be in like a where? It's probably in like one of several like side storerooms.
Yeah.
Where and I think those are the rooms you do the crime from. So you do some of the crime from the second floor rooms where you can pass smaller stuff out a window for second story work, versus the bulk crimes that you do in bigger boxes that go out from the first floor.
Yeah.
Big box crime, small box crime.
In fact, we carried boxes out when we were in Hunger's place.
Cool. So I will say that you just gather in this space and can share any information that you want to share. But there is a thing that happens. First, describe how Crossroads gets set up with the generator.
I think it's probably like, should it be something like clamps to Crossroads? Would there be like something like an interface port on its body?
Last time we had Crossroads recharge, it was like a 3-pronged thing in the back. So we'll go with that again.
Yeah.
And like this one is probably a different model than the one that Melvir had. And maybe it has like a hand crank.
Oh yes, this one.
So like somebody is like doing this all the time.
This one has a dynamo. It will take a little bit of effort to charge.
Oh, does somebody in the party need to get more buff? We can like have them do it and can count as a training point.
I would give it to you, because it is kind of, no one's ever actually needed to use it for anything, so it is kind of rusty and sticky in some places, so it will require some kind of effort. So I will literally give you all.
would that be like Tinker or
that would count as
Skirmish Wreck?
I think prowess training generally.
Yeah, it would
make
count
sense.
generally as prowess training. Yes.
All right, who wants prowess? That's not me.
I mean, the only person who could
I
probably
can't do it. I'm injured.
Yeah, the only person who could definitely benefit from some prowess is the one who can't get out of bed right now.
I'll let Skelly take that one unless Ring wants it, because Skelly could use some prowess, because it seems like we're gonna get into more skirmish.
Yeah, and possibly something to like. Exertion can also be a different form of stress relief, right?
Yeah.
And so when folks are assembled, speaking a bit louder to be heard over the dynamo, which is probably going like, it's all of those sounds at once somehow.
Yes, simultaneously.
Yeah.
And
there are things moving in this generator that you think should not be moving, but at least it's generating energy.
Like a really angry cat.
And so Ring like says, "Thank you all for staying. I know this has been a very strange day. This is not what I was expecting from Porter's Day. I was thinking I'd be here for a couple of hours. You all would not be injured or harassed by who the fuck ever. And that then you all could come over to my place and we could have a quiet drink and some food or something. But our life is our life, and it's as ridiculous as it's been this last week. But it's very good to be here with all of you. Being who I am, I got some things. It's my people's tradition to give presents on this day. You all come from your own walks of life, so, keeping each other alive is a gift, but I got some things while I was out. And so Ring kind of unfolds like some cloth. It's like heavy cloth, like almost like a wool that's been turned into a package. And then first takes a like oversized for short compared to Crossroads meat, like an artist style journal with a etched bird on the cover, and some like very, very basic pens and ink. And they hand it to Crossroads and say, "It's a very strange world, and I figured you might enjoy something nice to take notes on about meat and the strange things we do, or whatever you like."
Crossroads accepts this, and from its stillness, you can tell it is very deeply touched. And then it is thinking, and it's thinking, and it's thinking, and then it says, "Thank you, Ring. I promise this will be extremely appreciated." And then it opens the journal and it writes everybody's names down as the first thing. And then it puts it in its chest.
You're very welcome. I hope that you get good use from it. Then Ring kind of turns back to the package and pulls out probably like a 8-inch long, several inch wide whetstone, and a knife with like a leather scabbard, and hands the pair of them to Skelly. And the knife is the kind of knife that you can use for stabbing people or food. And they say, everybody could use a whetstone, and the life we live probably could use an extra knife.
Skelly is just utterly gobsmacked and kind of like puts her hands out to take the stuff, but then just keeps them there, like not sure what to do.
Yeah, I think Ring, like once Skelly's holding the thing, like Ring kind of reach out, like squeeze Skelly's hand just a bit, and say, "I know this day can be hard, but that's why we have each other, right?" And then like breaks off quickly enough to leave Skelly to her thoughts, and then goes to the package.
I just want to interject very quickly to just make a note as well. I didn't plan this, and I think that this is all really dope, because that means now, Skelly, you can add to your gear a fine knife, and make sure to bold it in Roll20 so it doesn't add load.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and Skelly will have just a deeply traumatic flashback of multiple Porter's days where the gifts she received were anger and resentment.
And the last thing in the bundle turns out to be the thing that was used to wrap up everything else, which is a thick, like it's like very tightly woven. So it's like the pattern is blacks and grays, and kind of Ring kind of unfolds and refolds it and like kind of turns it into a package, and goes over to Ash and hands it to her. I made this when I had a broken leg a couple of years ago, right after I got back from the war. You may already know this, but this is like a thing Akarosi make for the people in their lives. You wear this here, chances are you're not going to get as much shit from Akarosi just because of where you come from.
Thank you. And Ash shakes it out so she can take a better look at the pattern. And she examines the stitching and goes, Gosh, you needed this. My
All right.
stitches are always so uneven. My parents absolutely despaired of it. My brother's better at these things. Speaking of gifts, and she hauls out the little velvet packet that Cheryl has given in her. And she summarizes the interaction briefly for the rest of the team, and then she says, "She's so nice. I don't trust her at all. When an Akarosi gives you money unprompted, that is a down payment on some kind of future favor."
You're not wrong. Goes back to the Emperor. Doesn't exactly instill mutuality in his subjects.
She seems interested in Crossroads. Let's be careful about our tall friend.
As
Her and
you
half the
say
city,
that,
it seems.
as you say that, Crossroads,
Uh-oh.
you're just sitting here, charging, getting rid of some drain. In fact, remember to, I think it's you mark 6 drain? Is it 6 drain or 4?
No, I have to click the button for that because drain replaces my stress. Oh, whenever I do that, I clear 5 drain.
Right, so make sure to clear 5 drain. I'm not sure how much drain you have at this moment.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
You have a lot of drain. Yes, clear 5 drain.
7. I have 8, so I'm going to clear it and then I'm going to mark 3.
Cool.
Okay.
So that's happening. Your 5 drain is gone. And then, very suddenly, it seems as if you're no longer looking in this room anymore.
Oh.
Instead, it seems like you are in someone else's room. It seems quite posh. There are like lamps held on the walls, which internally seem like all fine varnished wood with like very fancy inlays in there, placed like right deep into the wood. The ceiling is not very low, but low enough that a part of you that is aware of your initial hull frame feels like it would be very, very tall for you to stand in. But some part of you is aware of the fact that you are perhaps not in your frame right now.
Am I in my bird frame?
You are not in your bird frame. This body is much bigger than your bird frame, but much smaller than your normal frame.
Do I recognize this body? I'm assuming it's made of meat.
You look at this body, and it is a hull, but it is not yours.
No.
This hull frame looks fancy. This hull frame is literally, its outer chassis is literal gold and silver. It is not made out of large iron panels like yours is, but has like individual panels that are like 1 inch by half inch, kind of like individually bolted panels that seem to be able to articulate much easier than, for instance, your normal frame's fingers can. And you can hear things ticking inside your limbs, and you can like see like small vents of steam push out of like some of the apertures between those panels. If you want to do any more observations of this frame or of where you are, you can do that at your leisure.
Yes.
Right. So, if you want to look at yourself, you should give me a study roll. If you want to look at the place where you are, you'll need to give me a survey roll.
Okay, so if Crossroads was itself, it would be panicking, but it's not itself right now. So it's looking at this new body. I search the new body. I study it.
Okay.
I see if it has a fancy corporate brand on it, like Aston Martin or Mercedes Benz or something.
Lord.
Am I a Ferrari now?
Has a noble like marked this hull
Yeah.
like a cow?
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is a Skurlock hull?
Yeah, there's a plate on my gold and silver collarbone that's like F1. Yeah.
Right. So your position is controlled, and your effect is great.
Controlled. Great. Oh my god, is this... I just thought of Pimp My Ride.
Oh Lord.
Okay, back to serious business. My position is controlled, my effect is great. Bonus dice?
No.
I guess since it's not me, I don't get any. Submit. It's a 3.
You notice the things that you've already noticed. As you start investigating further, you notice that this hull is in a suit, is in a 3-piece suit. While
This
it's
is-
sitting here charged, you notice that it is also charging wherever it is, and you notice that it's in a suit.
Wow.
You
Wow.
you check, you try to find out anything interesting about the suit, and you notice that your tie has a tie pin that has a bumblebee on it, and there is a stapled tag on the left side collar of the jacket that you're wearing that has the words AB stitched into the tag itself.
AB
Yes.
for a B. Cool.
Noted.
Thanks, Crossroads, wisely.
Do you want to know anything about where you are?
Yes.
Okay.
After Crossroads thinks to itself that Ash could probably sell this suit for a lot of money. It looks around.
Okay. Give me a survey roll.
I have no dots in survey, so this is gonna be fun.
Oh yes, this is gonna be brilliant. Your position is desperate and your effect is great.
Oh no. Desperate, great, no bonus dice. That's a 6 and a 2, but because I have no dice, I take the lowest result, and so I have a 2.
Okay.
Oh no.
You stand up. You take a step forward. You take another step forward, and suddenly your knees buckle and you hit the ground. And you hear another voice in the hull say, Master Booker would not be very pleased with this development. And then you suddenly find yourself in the room that you were presently in before with all of your strange friends.
Crossroads just screams.
Oh god! Give me a 2-die-14 roll.
This is very distressing to
In fact,
Ash.
no, don't give me a 2-die-14 roll. Roll to tune.
What? Oh yeah, I guess I'm freaking out. Okay, yeah, okay. I did this to myself.
Your position
We
is
just had to talk about this.
your position is controlled and your effect is extreme.
Is Crossroads still plugged in when it attunes?
Yes.
Oh
That's-
boy.
That's why its effect is extreme.
Okay, no bonus dice because it's her reaction, I'm guessing.
Yes.
When Skelly, the fact that Skelly lets go of the crank as soon as Crossroads screams.
It's a 3, a 5, and a 6.
No.
If I were
Good night, everybody.
if I were a cruel person, this would be a TKO, but it's not.
I was gonna say, new game starting next month.
I'm sorry, everyone.
The generator. Okay, because it's a 5 and a 6, it has to be enough shenanigans. I'm very sorry. Crossroads starts screaming. The generator explodes. When you all turn to see the ash heap of the generator, nothing is there. I don't mean there's like ash and smoke there. I mean there is a disconnected cable between Crossroads and the floor, and a disconnected cable from the floor leading to some like power cables outside. The generator has disappeared.
I just bamfed the oh no. I was about to say, Brandon, that if the generator had in fact like exploded and sent shrapnel places, I would be like, can I save the party by saying that when I scream, my head opens instead and the bird comes out and screams?
Oh lord. You are fine.
Can that happen anyway? Because that's just hilarious.
So this happens mechanically. This happens so I can mechanically say that Jeoi, as previously discussed, you have now gained the interface ability because you just witnessed someone else's hell.
And for the chat, I think this is how it works. Yes. I've pinged it so it appears in the scroll thing, and to read it out, interface is a whole trait. And its details are, you may attune to the local electroplasmic power field to control it or something connected to it, including another hull. And now we know there's another one.
This is extremely a Dishonored power.
Yeah. So that happened. Are you still screaming?
I would like to think that somewhere in the back of Crossroads' brain, or what passes for a brain now, that it gets that, you know, maybe the other 3 meat people won't like big Crossroads screaming, so then the bird pops out and starts screaming instead. So like it's still screaming, but the volume is suddenly turned way down, and then there's a bird filter slapped over it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, I would like to just reiterate the mental image of this. So from the outside, we see Crossroads, bird mouth, open, scream. Crossroads head, open, bird, scream.
It's Porter's Day! Scream! No, it doesn't scream that. But it's just still screaming right now.
Okay.
I think Ring throws on the rubber gloves that I mentioned earlier, and then like kind of very calmly takes a step toward Crossroads and holds out hands and says, "We're all here. It's okay."
Ash, on a meta level, I think it'd be really funny if you like threw the
Oh god.
Oh god.
Let's
Yes.
just mute the
Yes,
bird.
Ash just throws the cloak like she is covering a parrot cage to make a bird stop yelling.
So stop yelling.
Ash.
All right, canon. Crossroads acts like a bird when covered.
Ash. I would like you to give me an attune roll.
Ooh.
Whoa.
That's something I don't have any dots in.
Okay.
What
Oh,
is
this
my
gonna be
position?
cool.
Your position is desperate,
Whew!
and your
We're
effect
gonna
is
get
extreme.
some XP today.
And your effect is great. Your effect is great. Your effect is great.
My effect is great. No bonus die?
You get 1 bonus die.
Okay. That is a 3.
Ooh.
Okay, a
And
3.
we are marking a dot in resolve for the desperate roll.
A 3 still means a thing. Okay, this is what happens. There is a moment, the very briefest of moments, while both you and Crossroads are touching this cloth. And in that briefest of moments, as it like is about to lay flat over this bird, it stops looking like knitted cloth and starts looking like an etched map. It looks like a map of the entire archipelago that you're in. All of the islands. You can see even a little bit further west of Severus. Like places that you hadn't even known were on the map before. This large, sprawling thing. And it seems very briefly, but very quickly, as if your focus on that map is getting narrower and narrower. Inside Akaros, inside, like, southwest Duskfall, and you see an alchemical symbol that you've seen before in a prior vision. You have no idea what it is, but you've seen it. And like you can acknowledge where it is, but you can't really make out what district that is anymore. You're just like observing it on the map. And then that vision is gone. And the cloth just falls over Crossroads' bird head. And Bird Crossroads just kind of like meekly falls quiet.
I cannot zoom in far enough on roll 20 to actually read this map. But Ash is in that moment. She desperately wants a map, but she is nervous about asking for it. Because, like, how much of what she is learning in this past day is going to sound like, you know, ethnic woo to her new friends. Her new Akarosi friends. What can she actually tell them without them thinking this is some sort of primitive witch doctor shit, for lack of a better word? Because she has heard enough Akarosi dismiss other religions as primitive witch doctor shit. But she is now just trying to commit this to memory as strongly as possible so that she can, next time she sees a map, try to narrow this down.
Okay.
Brandon, can you describe the symbol at all?
I can, hold on.
And if anyone else is looking at a map they can actually read, I would love to be reminded what segment of the city Brightstone is in. Is that southwest?
It's a district to the east of the docks. We've been there in and out a couple times, I think.
That's a little more central than I'm thinking then. Interesting.
It's the district that has a bridge pointing up across the lagoon.
Mm-hmm. Hang on. A whole bunch of these bridges point up.
It's the big one.
Oh
The-
yeah, I see it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like you know how it's Dustfall
Mhm.
split into like one little island thing, and then there's a big
Mhm.
bridge. It's
Yeah,
called Valmore.
so-
It's over the lagoon. Yeah. So like that big bridge connects to Brightstone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We were seeing something in the southwest corner, so that's going to be down across the silk. Oh god, please don't send us into the energy farms.
Um, but to answer your question, the symbol that you see looks like, how do I describe this? It looks like a staff with two horizontal lines crossed through it at the top, and at the bottom is essentially an infinity symbol, where the center of those two crossing circles is at the very bottom of that staff line. It is the symbol for the mundane element of sulfur. Yes.
Yay. Wait, sulfur.
I like how Iori
We
just
have
knew.
a prison. We have a labor
It's like,
camp.
of course,
It was a
sulfur.
decent description. We have a prison down here. We have a labor camp. What else is in this terrible neighborhood? We have
Wolverine.
energy farms.
I want you, Ash,
So if
to
it's
give me a
sulfur,
role of some
it makes-
sort.
Do you think this is some sort of study?
Are you trying? No. What I want to discover in this immediate moment is: are you trying to hide what is presently totally overwhelming you mentally at this moment, or are you like just actively focusing on this thing that is not visibly in front of you, in front of everybody still?
Ash is actively and visibly focusing on it, but also everyone else in the room is aware that Ash is on a bunch of painkillers because she got shot today.
Cool. Yes. Fair enough. You are right. Still, I would like you to give me right, give me a 2-die fortune roll.
Okay. We have a 6 and a 4.
Okay. Ring. Give me a fortune roll with the amount of dice that you have in study.
Sure thing. So that's going to be 1 die for ring for study. And that's a 3.
Okay, nobody notices anything. You just seem very out of it because of the drugs and the loss of blood and the pain, and not because you just saw something. So yeah. I imagine, is there anything, are there any other pieces of information anybody wanted to share or discuss regarding the things that they know or want while they're still in this room?
I think Ring would say, I picked up some leads about Aldo Booker when I was out on my errands. I had a chat with my brother, who ended up as an architect. He's done fairly well for himself. And Aldo Booker, from what August knows, damn near owns half the city.
Just
At the last mention of Aldo Booker, bird road suddenly shakes its head and hops back inside its big body head, and then all the words just come out in a rush, in a very fast monotone of, I was not in this room anymore, and the room was very fancy, and there were lights, and I was in a whole body, and the whole was made out of gold and silver, and I was in a suit with a pen and a tie, and Ash could probably sell it for a lot of money, and probably also the pieces of the whole too. And I tried to look around, and then I fall on my knees, and then a voice in my head said, although Booker won't like that. And then I screamed very loudly, and then everything was terrible, and then everything was dark, and
What?
fucking Aldo Booker wants to get something, probably the seal, so that he can become an immortal. Because why wouldn't you if you're, near as rich as the immortal emperor? Fucking great. Now I could be wrong. He might just want every other thing in the world. And I want to ask, out of character, Mike has made a bet about what's going on, and I don't remember whether Mike is responding to elements of fiction that Ring had direct access to. Because at some point, we, the players, learned something about like a symbol on the inside of metal, which Mike took to be, oh, the seal is the thing that made Crossroads a hull. Do we remember when that information was distributed and how? Brandon, do you remember that?
We may be conflating two moments at this moment.
Okay.
A relic did turn Crossroads into a hull, but it was not the Cindered seal. As of this moment, there has been no official confirmation from anyone present beyond rumor that Crossroads and or Runa Casper may have had it.
Okay. Cool, thank you. I think the suspicion about Booker and the hull can probably stay as is, but I won't then make the next jump.
I will say, like, very fairly that the amount of, like, if no one has made an assumption yet that is not an assumption that you could have reasonably come to based on the information that you already have and the kind of conjecture that your character would already make. But if you ever got to that point, I would correct you.
Great, thank you.
Especially considering that a great deal of people don't know anything about the seal itself except for the fact that it exists.
So Booker has all of these holdings, and Cheryl wants something from us, probably.
Definitely.
Here's the thing, though. I can tell when a fancy-ass Akarosi is blowing smoke up my ass.
Crossroads grimaces.
So if we do go and talk with her, I'll take a look and see if I can't hear through whatever niceties she might be throwing up as a screen. But that doesn't solve the fact of like who jumped Ash and Crossroads, who else is Aldo working with, what, if any, what degree is he working with that inspector? Who's giving commands to that inspector to be doing this, if anyone? Or is this some move that the inspectors are making because they think it's going to benefit them? We're in this web that we got dropped into that none of us asked for. And it's not like it's easy to just cut your way out of the web, because we do that, we fall into the ocean and we get eaten by a leviathan. It's not my good idea of a time to look forward to.
Kelly holds up her new knife. It's cool. You got
there is a sound in the room very imperceptibly of like a marble hitting concrete.
Uh-oh.
Skelly and Ring, give me a survey roll. Your position is controlled and your effect is standard.
Is Ash too morphined up to know this in survey?
Ash, you can give me one, but your effect will be. What will your effect be? Will your effect supposed to be standard? Hold on.
I think I have less effect due to crossbow side effects.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So would that make me controlled limited?
Yeah, limited.
Skelly got a 4 and a 3.
Ash got a 3 and a 6.
And Ring got a 1 because they're trying to galaxy brain.
So, Ring and Skelly, who are like perfectly focused in this moment, didn't notice anything, and yet Ash, who is like loopy, and might I mention yet again, missing a lot of blood, turns very quickly to the door by the staircase and sees one of the porters who looks like very intensely in her eyes and then scurries back downstairs. But it looks to you like you have no idea why. Like you saw the kid's mouth move, but you didn't really make out what they said. But you highly suspect, simply because like you suspect that they were watching the conversation for a while, and you suspect as a result that they have some manner of information that is useful to everything that you just observed, and they just fled downstairs with no intention to share it with you.
And Ash says, Ring, that was one of your kids. You should go catch them.
Ring is most of the way out of the room and without turning back asks description.
Maybe 10 years old, brown hair, wearing a very ratty gray suit that seems a little bit big for the kid's size. Hazel eyes with like a small scar under the left eye.
Skelly's gonna hunt.
You know, Ring. Oh my god, I'm dying. Do I still have?
No, don't die.
Don't die, no.
Take
We
your
can't die
time.
now. This is important.
Okay, cool. Ring, that description immediately stands out to you as Mox.
Moss.
Right, Moss, yes.
Okay. Just gonna make a note. And Moss is not someone we've established before.
Mm-mm. Not to the best of my knowledge. Right.
So yeah, Ring will kind of power walk across the second floor and to this down to the first floor, and hearing kind of Skelly behind, kind of make the signal of I'm going right, you're going left, over their shoulder as they go down, and is like looking for Moss among the group.
Give me your survey rolls again with the same position and effect. Controlled standard.
Hey, I want to argue for Hunt on this one, just for Skelly's
Right,
purpose.
yeah, it would be. In fact, it's Hunt for you both. How many dots do you have in Hunt, Ring?
I have 3. I don't know how Ring does.
Ring has 0. I have too much stress, but I would be very happy to assist in Skelly's hunt.
Yeah, I would say since it's you're going left, I'm going right, and I would also say like you go low, I go high kind of thing because I'm taller.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to, because trauma is a lot in this game, and because you are in a safe place, I'm gonna say that pushing yourself for this will not cost stress. Because it would suck if you just got a trauma while surrounded by people who are not a threat to you.
Arguably, Skelly is just traumatized by doing a hunt during Porter's Day, which is like nightmare flashback material for her. But hey,
A hunt
go-
for a child.
for a child,
on
yeah, no,
Porter's
like this
Day.
is literally this is bad. All right. Anyway, what am I rolling here?
So right,
Risky?
so your rolling hunt, your position is controlled, your effect is standard, and you gain +1d from Ring's assist.
All right. That is a 4, a 6, a 6, and a 3. Skelly just like immediately hand on neck. It's like, where you going, kid?
Right. So it's one of those very obvious kinds of I am trying to lose someone in a crowd kind of montages in your favorite drama, where this kid is like bobbing and weaving through crowds of people who are obviously talking, ducking under tables where people are eating or playing games, like trying his very best to keep active in this entire building so no one can see him.
And then just runs
And
straight
then
into Skelly's
and
chest.
no, Skelly just like puts hands on both of the kids' shoulders and they just freeze and
Hi,
turn
Moss.
back to face both Skelly and Ring.
You're not in trouble. But we are, and I could use your help.
He is fighting to tell you something. Like it is obvious to you in this moment that he is absolutely afraid of something.
And I think Ring kind of pulls the group far enough away from everything else to have some privacy.
And
then
Skelly removes hands, like.
And Ring kind of gets down, gets down on their haunches to, or whatever, to not be like looming over Moss, and is doing everything possible to be not threatening, and says, the reason we went to talk away from everyone is that I don't want to put anyone here in danger any more than I already have. If you heard some of what we said, that can put you in danger. And so I want to do what I can to make sure that you don't have to be in danger. And I'm not going to be mad. There's almost nothing that you could say that would make me mad, as long as you don't say that you ate the last cinnamon roll. And they smile.
Skelly gets down and sort of like taps Ring on the arm, pulls out a different blade and hands it hilt first to Ring.
Yeah, and
like basically to give to the kid kind of thing, like
that was like
comfort knife.
Yeah. And Ring says, how's your knife?
He doesn't say anything for a long while. It seems like the joke didn't work. He takes the knife from you kind of awkwardly and is looking at it, and he seems very impressed by the knife, but he doesn't. It isn't obvious that his mood changes.
Did you see something today or some other day?
And then he looks up at you. Abject terror in his eyes. Like, you can tell, like, this is not a minor fear, but some, like, big, deep fear in this child's eyes as he turns to you and says, "Is Mr. Booker going to do something bad?"
I think so. I think Mr. Booker may have been behind the group that came to hurt my friends today. So we were trying to figure out how to keep each other safe. And within that, I'm going to be doing what I can to keep you all safe.
He freezes for a bit, like he's fighting to say something still, and then says, "I think me and the other kids have to tell you about Brightstone."
Okay. Why don't you get everybody who was there or who we're talking to, and like kind of points to the table. You met us there. In a minute, and I'll go get the rest of my friends.
He nods.
I could really use your help right now if there's something that we need to know.
He nods and very shyly slips away. And I'm going to end this scene with the both of you kind of looking at him as he slips back into that crowd, into a small group of other porters in that room as the camera pans out from that room to the main dining room of this building, out that building's window, and out into the still heavily falling snow outside, piling somewhere maybe maybe as high as 1.5 feet, 2 feet of snow outside, in the streets of Duskfall. And that will be the end of our session this evening.
Oof, the biggest feelings.
Yeah.
What a cliffhanger.
A lot of things have been
That was
moving
a
all of a
lot.
sudden. So yeah. I guess we're getting deeper into the Booker conspiracy at this point.
We are getting into the meat of it. Okay.
No, that's great though.
I'll allow it. How do you all feel about this session?
My heart is bursting. These are all my children.
Yes, these are literally all your children, and they've beat each other up. They've stolen each other's food, and now they're just revealing to you that their life may have been in danger several nights ago, and they're now telling you.
Yep. It's like I think I said in chat earlier, sometimes your parents are the haunted, supportive den parent and the stern, super criminal smuggler parent. And that's a family.
Yeah.
Sometimes your mom gives you knives for emotional support.
Yeah. You don't choose your parents.
Or you get knives from your cool aunt.
So yes, this has been a very productive Porter's Day feast. Of course, we're still going to be here. We're still going to be in this day for a couple more hours before we get to figure out what else you can do in this terrible pouring winter. But that will be for next session. Until that time, I will ask each of you to please introduce yourself by telling these lovely people in chat who you are, what you do, and where people can find out more about you and your work. Starting with Mike.
Sure thing. I'm Michael R. Underwood. I play Ring Dalmore, the haunted veteran, aka Spider, playbook, and parent to the various sundry porters. And My fiction includes Annihilation Aria, which is a found family space opera to be enjoyed alongside Valerie's very excellent found family space operas. My very latest book is Genrenauts: The Wasteland War, which is a loving homage to the role-playing game Apocalypse World, as well as Mad Max Fury Road, because that movie absolutely rules. And I want to say thanks to everybody for watching. And again, if you like what we do with Speculate, we'd love to have you as a supporter over at patreon.com/speculate. There are lots of special features that you can get, including bonus episodes where Greg, Brandon, and or I talk about role-playing games we're enjoying, talk about how to make your role-playing games more awesome. And there's also a lot of bonus content about Splendor and Shadow, the game of Rebel Crown that I'm GMing, which is the other Speculate game. So you can get my videos of my GM prep and other stuff like that. So again, that's patreon.com/speculate. And you can find me on Twitter at Mike R. Underwood. Thanks.
Next, Jeoi.
Hello, Jeoi Gawain Lin, pronouns he, they, game and fiction writer. You can find me on Twitter at thisismydesign. Design is spelled capital D-A-S-E-I-N. It is a philosophy joke and a Hannibal pun. I have played Crossroads, the once meet, once whisper, now hull, and in this session, it screamed a lot. In both bodies. So that's amazing.
Good. Next, Iori.
Iori Kusano, they, she pronouns, Clarion West class of 2017. I play Of the Flame, Aim the Ash, our Severosi Lurk, who is still a little bit low on blood. You can find me on Twitter at Iori Kusano or at kusanoiori.com. Remember, my name is spelled I-O-R-I. There is no L in my name.
And last but not least, Valerie.
I am Valerie Valdes. I'm the author of Chilling Effect and Prime Deceptions and the forthcoming third in the trilogy, Fault Tolerance, which are Mass Effect inspired video games. If you like Mass Effect and 90s and 80s cartoons and a lot of other really fun stuff, you potentially enjoy my books. And if you like my books, you will like Mike's books, especially Annihilation Area and definitely Genre Nuts. And I am going to be streaming Mass Effect starting on Tuesday on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/thekidsareasleep. And you can also find me online on Twitter at Valerie Valdes with an S if you're listening on a podcast.
And I have been and remain Brandon O'Brien, your GM for The Case of the Cindered Seal. I am a writer, poet, and game designer from Trinidad and Tobago, as well as one of the trio of hosts of the podcast Speculate alongside Michael and Greg, which you can find out more about and lend your support to at speculatesf.com. I also have an itch.io page where I sell some of the small game things that I made, including one that I made just yesterday called A Nice Hobby, which is about just being queer teenagers who get into a nice hobby. It's a nice hobby, I promise. I promise. It's a nice hobby. Which you can also find on my itch.io storefront, the Fugitives crew sheet that this crew uses for The Case of the Cindered Seal, which is a special Blades in the Dark crew sheet about essentially being on the run from the law and needing to unravel a mystery that is just a little bit bigger than you are. So if you want to find out more about that or the other game things that I make, you can find that on therisingtides.itch.io. You can follow me on Twitter at therisingtides, and my website is brandonobrien.space. So thank you so much for joining us for tonight's session. Please give all of your love to all of these wonderful players who have put up with all of my shenanigans this evening. I'm really glad that we got to be chill for a moment and still do some weird stuff. I'm really glad that I got at least a couple moments to squeeze in some weirdness. And I look forward to our next session coming up very soon. And I also look forward to you all joining us for ARFCon shenanigans later in the month as well, if you all have the opportunity to do so, because ARFCon is going to be dope. But until then, I will bid you all adieu for the moment. Um, as I step away just for a little bit and then come over here to say hello to all of you lovely people in chat. Thank you so very much for joining us for yet another session of the Case of the Cindered Seal. This was a lovely game. I'm always really hyped to bring more Blaze shenanigans to you all. A lot of today's session was the combination of, as usual, joint collaboration with the players about the things that they wanted, while also finding weird things to just throw into a corner and see where they lead from that point. And I'm really glad about how this turned out, because it means that we get to go even more quickly into the main conspiracy of this game very soon. So I can't wait to bring you into more sessions of those things. But I would like very much to thank all of you for joining us this evening. Again, first and foremost, thank Arvan Eleron for giving me an opportunity to be on this channel, to GM for this channel, to make as much content as possible for this channel. I'm always very grateful of the opportunity for to share this kind of storytelling opportunity with you all and with the players, of course. To the mods, Rock God, Shadowed Mage, and Triffity Mats, thank you so very much for all of the lovely work that you do, keeping this community safe and having fun in the chat, because on Twitch that is a very important piece of work, and you do it so very well. To the other folks that passed through, 69 Feats, Ashmail, Comet Tunes, Community Showcase, Crit Twitch, Determinology Z, Divinorium, Jack Tress, Kusano, Mapricot, Mrs. Dunsell, Not Yosef's 7, St. Pomelo, Streamers Area, Tauntaums, The Kids Are Asleep, Turbo Tango, U Christensen, and V and K. Thank you for passing through and checking out this stream. And also, Nonstop, thank you for joining us this evening. I hope that you really enjoyed this evening's session. Next Sunday will obviously be a game of Sound Clashy Clampdown, so I hope you don't miss that as well. I'm sure that the next week of content will be very full if you want to see some of the more amazing things that happen on this channel. So definitely please pass through and stick around and make sure that you enjoy all the things that happen here. But until the next time that this channel goes live, I hope that you all have a very lovely evening, and I will see you all very soon. So here are all of my encouragements for you all to make terrible decisions, as I am the GM.
Ash has a crossbow bolt in her side, 0 dots in skirmish, and 0 dots in wreck. And I'm so excited to see this get even worse. So that's one vote for escalation.
Skelly has 3 guns and all the ammo.
Crossroads has no guns, but Crossroads is a gun powered by ghosts.
Have we established that your guns are special to you? I feel like we're establishing that your guns are special to you.
Before this crew, they were my only friends.
You've known us for 5 days. You've known those guns a lot longer.
These are my babies.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Rowan was starting to do this, and then he realizes to harvest. This doesn't help. Like, don't do that.
This is not.
No.
This is
Like,
not
don't do this.
thing.
Yeah.
Doing this to an executioner.
Yeah, that's not what you
just
want.
like this, like.
We call that the go sign, you know? Like, yeah.
Oh man.
This theme's great. I will do a fortune roll. Notes. No thoughts. Head empty. Why?